Here it is. Me with nothing to talk about. Except that I still think that this intro music is epic. Actually, it's not true that I don't have anything to talk about. I just got back on a kind of a staycation, and I've been taking advantage of a lot of new restaurants that have opened. As I showed you, me eating this stuff, and I've been eating a lot of oysters. But one of the things that I've noticed over the past few days, because I go over there, and I don't have anything here to exhibit, but you guys see me in my t-shirts, my novelty t-shirts, I wear this shirt periodically t-shirt with the periodic table on it. You guys know those, right? And I showed you, I unboxed my beachy shorts, and I showed you my raggedy deck shoes, and then I showed you my nice deck shoes. I haven't shown you my nice khaki shorts, but there you have this, this looks like a nice button-up shirt. Just screams. Today, as I was going out, I was just screaming yacht rock. And, I mean, I wasn't literally screaming yacht rock. Although that would be a good video of just me randomly yelling yacht rock at people. But what got me was how ridiculously different people treat me. Especially like when they take the time when they take my card to read my name and say put Mr. in front of it when I'm dressed like this. When I'm wearing a t-shirt and baggy surfer shorts and not so nice shoes. I mean, they're still nice shoes, but I don't get Mr. and my last name. So it just struck me as weird today how people are. I mean, I don't know what they think. If they're making some kind of a socioeconomic judgment about me, what do they think I'm going to do? Just like, oh, by the way, here's 100 for yourself, dearie. It's ridiculous. So people are so bizarre and ridiculous. I don't know what it is that they thought they were going to get out of me when I'm dressed nicer. But people do this. They really do this. I noticed this a lot when I was in college. I noticed it when I was in the military. I noticed that when I showed people my civilian ID, they treated me completely differently from how they treated me when I showed them my military ID. And the bad thing about that is when I showed them my military ID, they talked to me slower, so I would be able to understand them. Yes, that was the difference that I noticed. I don't know what that says about people, but probably not good. But these things are like little weird things that I'm always noticing and sort of throwing things together from different sides. And I wanted today to talk about some thoughts that I had that are a little bit more funny. And if you know how my brain works, and if you probably have been exposed to some of my worst jokes. One of this guy that I know through John, Rod Kresge, recently said that he called them lethisms. And I thought, you know what, you should put some of these together and show. I mean, these are like social media things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through them, and then you're going to see the text as it appeared to the unfortunate victims of my humor when I was actually doing this evil thing to people. And the source of this is just the fact that my brain has a weird sense of humor even when I'm asleep. Like the other night, was it actually last night? No, I think it was a couple of nights ago. I was dreaming that I was in some kind of a pub, like an Irish or English pub, and the band there was a band and they were playing jammin'. Jammin' in the name of Jah. Well, don't at me about my accent, okay? Just save it. So while this was going on, I was trying to have a conversation with someone, but then I realized as I'm listening to this song that they were not saying the real lyrics. That the band in my dream was saying, "Jammin' in the name of the dwarves." And I turned. I'll give you a chance to just fully absorb that fact. I turned, and on stage were dwarves, you know, short fellas, bearded, medieval gear on, dreads, of course, because they're doing Marley. And I, in my dream, started to laugh and laughed myself awake. So here are some Leithisms. And I will say that if you aren't into bad jokes, you probably just want to stop right now, because these are all bad, and a lot of them are in the typical you know, back and forth dialogue format that's so cool these days, like us. Hey, what's the worst that could happen? And the worst happens. That kind of stuff you see. Okay, so there's one that says, Smith, these iron swords are only 4 gold because I got some carbon in them. Me, oh, that's a steal. I told you. I warned you. I warned you. And then there was one that was telling about when my dog lost his foot. I didn't know that dogs could run on 3 feet, so I paid way too much for a prosthetic foot. It was a faux pas. This mobster is talking to his boss, and the mobster says, convincing him will be a snap of the fingers. And the boss says, yeah, how? And the mobster says, I just said I'll snap his fingers. Okay. So, okay. They're not all even close to being real jokes. But how ironic would it be if MC Hammer had to be a museum security guard now? There, you got it. Yeah, you can't touch that joke. So Lovecraft says, the call of Cthulhu. And I say, yeah, could maybe he text first? Now, some of these are actually good advice. Like, for example, you can't invite vampires to a stakeholders meeting. Here's one where it's me saying that I'm of 2 minds about almost everything. Also me, no, you're not. This one is a little bit more, this is actually something that happens to me, and every time that this happens, like you're checking out someplace and the cashier says, thank you, have a blessed day, and I'm always afraid that I'm going to burst into flames. And why do I say that about myself? Because I make jokes like this. You know how people are always talking about what they're going to give up for Lent? Well, I posted in social media, I think I'm just giving up for Lent. I don't know why I think that is still funny to me. I wrote that about 40 days ago, and I still think that's, you know, they call it Mount Rainier, but from what I know about Seattle, I'm betting it's rainiest. I apologize beforehand. So this one's about a lumberjack staying in the Pacific Northwest here. The lumberjack had spent years culling those evergreens. You could say he had first-hand experience. I know, they're terrible. You know, the hipster, he scratched himself on a record and died because it was a deep cut. You know, I kind of want to do a graphic novel about ninjas that's nothing but drawings of Japanese buildings. Now, if you give me a chance, I will mispronounce recidivism again. Is that a joke so much as I don't know. You know, it must be frustrating for people whose line of work is drawing circles. Here's worst pickup line, okay? And I don't use pickup lines, but this would have to be the worst one. Hey, baby. Hey, baby, are you a gel pad hook? Because I would mount you on any surface. I can't even get through it. It's so ridiculous. Why did I ever do that? Why did I come up with that? So someone says, I won't name names. Well, I would say, well, that's good because names don't have names because they're names. That's just me being an asshole. And then the last one that I'll subject you to is, goes like this. This sentence ends mid-word.